Living Seed Media brings to you God's Word, which is His comprehensive equipment for changing lives. May the Lord impact your heart as you encounter His Word. For further inquiry or counsel, contact Peace House, P.O. Box 971, Boko, Benue State, Nigeria. Telephone numbers 0703 0363659, 0703 7681198. Email address lsmedia@livingseed.org, or visit our website at www.livingseed.org. Let us sit back and listen as the servant of God brings forth the word of life.
I have come to this point tonight where I want to begin to deal with our theme again, shaping and sharpening the young for national productivity. And as we were beginning to deal with that text, in the morning I was trying to look at what is the performance measurable and achievable objective that had been set for the whole process of our involvement in the teaching profession. And if you followed very deliberately, you will notice that the education process will fail if these young lives pass through our hands and they could not get their bearing. But this night, I would like to go a little further. You know, in the morning, as our brother began to bring the theory of constructivism in learning, and we were looking at the fact that correct teaching must position the learner, the student, at the very center of every consideration. This night, I thought that we must go ahead to discuss the peculiarity of the student lives that God is asking us to affect. What is peculiar about them? What must we not omit about them? What must I, as a teacher, must be cognizant about? The learner that God has brought under my hand. And why is it crucial? Why is our role crucial? Why is this particular space in which we are called upon to exercise our labor, why is this so crucial? Why does it become a very grave responsibility if we fail at this point? All of this I want to do tonight in order to begin to establish or discuss with you the workable methodology for shaping and sharpening the young for national productivity as teachers. What will be the workable methodology that we must engage for shaping and sharpening the young. Now, permit me to now begin to look at what exactly do we mean by shaping. Because the word to shape and to sharpen, even though they are sounding alike, they are not the same. Are they the same? They are not. And the word to shape has a limited time space in which shaping can take place. And that's why we want to look at the peculiarity of our students, so as to be able to look at what is the workable methodology in helping them. I want you to know that the Bible, God our Father, recognizes the three broad segments in the life of the young. And I want to inform you that these three broad segments is also the broad divisions in which the educational system had been subjected to, even as we look at both the psychology of the child and the capacity for the simulation of effective learning of the child. So when we break the educational system into three, and we talk about the early child education, or what you call the primary education, or what you call the foundational education, when we broke the educational system into these three segments, and we talk about the secondary education, and we talk about the tertiary education, I want you to know that we are not just looking for empty words. We are looking at the different segments in which the life of the student or the pupil or the learner has been divided. This division is not arbitrary. This division actually is intentional. It is not somebody's human idea. It is God that had placed these segments in the life of a child and has given us space to walk into it. And so my first responsibility tonight is, first of all, to be able to look at the peculiarity of each of that segment. And this peculiarity of the segment, I would have loved to have done it differently and say, okay, let all the primary school teachers and the early child educationists, I want them to gather so that we can discuss what's peculiar about them, what is the psychology of the child. And then we have another session to deal with the secondary, when they have become teenagers. And then we now look at, so what's the peculiarity of the tertiary students? I would have thought that we should have done this segmentation separately so that we can concentrate for discussion. But I decided that it was necessary to deal with it compositely, simultaneously, The reason is because even though they are distinctive segments, they are not mutually exclusive. That is to say that each of these segments, they are not independent of each other. And we cannot be so focused on one segment and refuse to cast our eyes on the other segment. The reason is because whatever happens in the first segment, the primary segment, immediately impacts and affects what the secondary segment can have. And you already know that the cumulative effect, or what I call the resultant effect of the primary and the secondary, is what the tertiary teachers are battling with. So in our thinking together, the lecturer at the university must understand that he will be incapacitated if the teacher at the nursery primary school has not been able to accomplish what was meant for that segment. Do you agree with me? So if the tertiary lecturers is actually serious, he will do everything possible to assist and encourage the teacher at the primary level, and will not look down upon her or him and say, well, he's a primary school teacher. He will know that, yes, being a professor in the university, as wonderful as it is, will be hanging in the air if that teacher in the primary school has not been helped to do her job. Am I right? I don't know whether lecturers who are sitting here will remember that the decay that you began to see in the students that you are admitting, that many students cannot write correct sentence. If you look back, you will remember that there was a time when primary school teachers were not paid for about 2 years. And children went to no school. All the primary schools in some of the states became bushy. And some governors were bragging that they can rule their state even without the schools. And nobody called them to order. And you remember there was a time when the policy of education says all children must be promoted. Nobody must repeat. Were you alive that time? And some of us who knew that if the foundation be destroyed, what can the righteous do? We cried, but nobody listened. And from that point forward, we knew that we are running into a big, irretrievable problem because we are failing to understand the connectedness of every segment of education. Some of you were alive when teacher training was compromised, when suddenly it became clear that we need teachers. And there was a decree that any student that did not make WAEC, who drop out maybe in Form 4, should go to what we call UPE teacher training. Those who never understood anything, we gave them one crash program of 1 year and they became teachers. Were you alive that time? We sent damagers to the foundation of many lives. No wonder we have started to reap the work of our hands. But because God is speaking particularly to the education, is the teacher, it is very critical that we will understand these segments that are not mutually exclusive or independent, but which we must take together and think together about and talk practically about, if God will help us to accomplish our task, the charge that God has given us. So I will want to quickly, and if I'm able, I would like to quickly address those various segments and see what workable methodology is God demanding for us to engage in shaping and sharpening the young for national productivity. Few passages that I would like you to take note about. You are familiar with Proverbs chapter 22 and verse 6. You will have remembered it, but let me read it again for you. Proverbs chapter 22 and verse 6. What did he say? Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, what will happen? He will not depart from it. So if we are talking about shaping, I hear God particularly saying, when a young life is still a child, and I'm talking about that child from age 0 to age 12. From all studies, that is the age when you establish the features of the future of that child. Please hear me very well. The features, the parameters that will characterize and define the future of that young life. The only time when those features are planted and developed and shaped is between that age 0 and possibly age 12. And actually, if I were to be much more deliberate, the age 0 to age 5 is actually much more serious in the life of a child. During that period, everything that will formulate the foundation of that child's emotional life, that is when it has to be set and trained. Please hear me. I hope that when you go back, you can go back into your research and you confirm some of what we have to say here. At that age, even though you imagine that the child does not understand, but the greatest foundation is being laid in that child's formulation. If that child happens to be carried by somebody who is always shouting, and every time you shout, you see the little bit. I hope you know what you are doing. You are shaping that child to become what? Fearful. Any little noise, the child will do as if he's convulsing. It is because everything in the child, including his intellectual capacity, they still seem to be in their fluidity. It's as if it has to be shaped and given a definite shape. I don't know how to tell you. Do you know that some of you, your head is oblong because those who handled you when you were young did not help us to shape your head? Please tell me if I'm telling the truth. Even though you may think it is crude, early mothers, they understood very perfectly that all the bones, all the cartilages, they were still in the process of becoming turgid. And that if it was not properly shaped that time, and it assumes a wrong shape, it remains like that. Do you know that when you have a child and you did not help to shape the control of his tongue and his lips, that your child did like this? Do you know, if you see any woman or any young man who is eating his lips whenever he became unconscious of anybody watching, when was that omission, please? You are not talking to me. When? When he was a child. When the mother said, don't worry. When you see somebody whose tongue is always on top of the teeth and he does not know how to pack it inside. Where was that omission? Where did it start? Right from that time. But you know, I would not have been talking to you like this. I would have been talking to the mothers. But you know what I found now? I have found now that mothers and fathers of our time who ought to take responsibility for the first 5 years of their children's life. Because the first 5 years of your children's life is the time when you bond with that child. It's the time when you develop his capacity for affection. It's the time when something that sometimes we couldn't explain rubs on that child. That is the time when that child concentratedly is being shaped with correct family values and virtue. Unfortunately now, please, I am not standing here tonight to contest your wisdom for pre-primary and pre-nursery. I'm not here to do that because it has come to stay. But if you ask me honestly, it was irresponsibility and the failure of parents that will make them to take their child out of their bosom earlier than 5 years. You are no more hearing me. Because that's what you are doing. You pray so much that God will give you a child. But as soon as that child is born, you became so busy, you are looking for where to dump the child, an unshaped child. Asking someone else to use his own unguided hand to shape the child for you. I did speak to you yesterday about creche. Abi? When you drop a child, 6 months. 6 months. Because you have to go to work. And you are doing bank job. 7 to 7. And you look for one old mama who is tired. Who just set out something to be the creche for your own child. Only God will help you to understand what goes on when you turn your back. So when the child becomes wild, always looking for affection from wrong places, you say, I don't know why this child does not, I don't know why. I know why. The first 5 years of a child's life is foundational. That's when that child has to be shaped. That's when the coordination of his limbs and of his hands has to be managed and shaped. Sometimes when I see somebody walking like this, I know you say he has bow leg. I want to inform you, he was not born so. It was the omission of the first 5 years. There is a time when the child, the legs cannot carry the weight of the trunk. But because you are in haste, you put that child on her 2 legs. That's how the child is doing. And unfortunately, you don't know that you are shaping the leg. Those who understand what we are talking about will know that that first segment is the segment of shaping, or if I call it formation. And if we miss it, the features of the future of that child is already in danger. But now I'm telling you that because of our changing society, because of our changing values, and because of this strange culture that has overtaken us, the parents have now extended to the teacher. They are ready to part away with their children as early as what? As possible. If some of you want to make money, open creche and say we admit 1-year-old. My God, you will get money because somebody is saying, yes, they will drop that child there. So many of us, your training, many of you, the training you had when you were being trained as a teacher honestly did not include that aspect. Talk to me. Am I communicating with you? You were not equipped to deal with anything earlier than 4 years. But here we are. We have been confronted to take babies whose feeding habit is yet to be shaped, whose sleeping habit is yet to be properly established, whose reaction to stimulus or stimuli had not yet been fully formed. We are now asked to lump them together. And you know that level, you can never take 2 at the same time. Do you know that how many of you have been fortunate, God bless you, and you are twins in your family? Let me see your hand up. Is there a mother of twins here? Let me see your hand. I want to congratulate you. Oh, yeah. Are you feeling shy? Right. Do you know that when you have delivered twins, it is then you will discover that the formation and the shaping, even of twins that came from your womb, is not the same. Ben, did you remember that your twins, they needed different approach? And because sometimes we don't understand, we think, they are twins now. So when you now saw that their path in life is actually not the same, it is then you start saying, let's give attention to Taye differently and give attention to Kendi. Because though they are born the same day, it was the same egg that divided into two. But the capacity of their shaping is usually individual. So if I were to cancel, I don't see how a correct pre-nursery school should take more than 10 per teacher. How many of you are teaching in the pre? I'm not talking of nursery now. I'm talking of pre-nursery. Tell me now, let me see your hand up. How many can you honestly handle? Do you know that for a correct pre-nursery, even if you have now agreed that it's a correct school to run, to have 10 in a class, you need at least 2 teachers. Or if you have 1 teacher, you must have another one that is a singer. Because before you finish with this one, the other one is crying, and it must be doing like this, 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 so that you can do anything. How many proprietors? We put 2 teachers to handle 10. You are not talking to me again, no? And because parents have released their rights of shaping their children to you, and you have accepted it as a charge. Actually, you charge them to collect that charge. I'm begging God that heaven will not call you to account to give your stewardship over that charge that you charge them to collect. All I'm trying to say is that that particular segment is the segment where shaping actually takes place the most. And if we fail at shaping, and you know the word shaping means giving a form, giving an outline, that we shall fill up later on with concrete. Creating a prototype that we shall fill up eventually. not take note of that. But you know, as I'm talking like this, I am not unaware that there's a lot of research, a lot of developmental psychology that is going on. And I salute and congratulate those that have worked and they are working hard to help us at that level. The other day when I saw my granddaughter playing violin, very concentrated, I said, yes, whichever teacher did this has worked hard. There will be something like that we cannot ignore. All I'm trying to say is that there is a peculiarity at that segment, and the word God used was train. And the word train in that Bible verse is not just about teach. It's not about inform. What is the word? Train, that is shape. Several times it will work out, it will not fit. You are going to train it. At that level, repetitive learning is the approach, because you are training. I don't know how many times you will say to that boy that always open his mouth like this, close your mouth. I don't know how many times you will say it. How many times? Suggest to me how many times? Uncountable number of times. 100 times a day. Close your mouth. Close your mouth. Close your mouth. It's not his fault. It's to be trained. So sometimes you bring your 2 fingers and do what? And hold it. Sometimes, because close your mouth is not working, what do you use? You use your finger to do what? To tap it. As you are doing it and the boy is feeling pain. And whenever he sees you coming with your finger again, what are you doing? You are training. So if at that segment, training did not take place, you will notice that I did not say teaching. What have I said? Training. You train even the finger. You train how to sit. You train how to sleep. Everything has to be trained, because no matter how beautiful a child is, it comes like a blank sheet. It is what you write there that it becomes. Am I communicating with you? So that first segment 0 to 12, and I try to graduate it like that. What ought to be done is the training. Practical training. repetition until a habit is formed. If we are going to set up the curriculum or the scheme of work for that level, it is not about many content and concepts. It's usually one concept, but in different shapes and form until the child is what? Is trained. It's not first about dazing the baby or the young child with big knowledge. That's why singing, rhymes, drawing, color, they are the workable methodology for that level. Train the child. But now I hear God saying, train up your child the way he should go. When he has grown, he will not do what? He will never depart from it. I'm telling you. I was saying to you yesterday, when it is the correct time to teach phonetics and phonology, when? Talk to me quickly. That's the time. That is the time. If the child did not get it well or was not trained, even with simple pronunciation, she may never get it again. No? So when you are pronouncing words and you are saying it in the ears of that child and you are not saying it correctly, because to them they can only learn when the stimulus has been repeated all the time. Then you know that they learn not by reasoning. They only learn by copying. I don't know whether I'm confusing you now. The child does not start learning by reasoning because his reasoning capacity is still being shaped and developed. What is his intake of knowledge? It is what he sees, what he hears. So he mimics you, he mimics what you say, he mimics the way you talk. That is the method for his own learning at that level. So can I find out, if the children at that age, if they only learn by mimicking, by repetition, by watching and doing what you said, they don't know why, they don't understand why you did it, but that's how you do it. And if you call that small child, say, that's how my teacher taught me. Am I correct? Have you ever seen that little baby, that little child, 4 years, 5 years, when you speak your own English, as if you are eating yam? And that girl said, Mom, you are wrong. That's not how my teacher taught me. He said, what? I'm your mother. He said, my teacher told me like this. How many of you have confronted that before? The teacher is more important to that girl than the mother. Because as far as she's concerned, that's the teacher that is shaping her and shaping him. So when the word of God said, train. He actually was saying shapen them. Give their lives a shape. So, in this context, is the primary school teacher very critical? Talk to me, please. Does the primary teacher have a very, very indispensable role to play in the entire educational system? Permit me to ask you, is the primary school teacher the most important of all teachers? You know why? Her work is primary. Do you know the meaning of the word primary? The word primary comes out of prime. Prime. The primary school teacher has the prime job, the primary. Until it is properly done, everything else will not have shape. But if the primary school teacher has helped us to shape the child, we can come and fill up and there will be no problem. But do you know that unfortunately, the primary school is never given the prime of place in our consideration? Do you know that when we are introducing ourselves, those of you that are primary school teachers, did you see how you are very ashamed to introduce yourself? Because to you, I'm just a primary school teacher. And you know, I'm just trusting God when I become a tutor. What is a tutor? You see? Something gives you a sense of defeat. And so because of that, even our educational policy makers, it did not dawn on them that if there's anywhere to invest most, where's the best place to invest? The primary. Train up the child the way he should go. And when he grows up, he will not depart from it. If the primary school teacher will do well, the secondary school teacher has little problem. And the tertiary level lecturers, they have an easy job to do. So if that particular segment is the segment of shaping, of training, it then means that the workable methodology that will help us to accomplish our charge cannot be anything short of total involvement. Complete involvement. But you see the wickedness I have seen in the primary school. Many of the teachers, because to them, it's nothing. They are also selling kunu. Just tell me the truth. Eh? Don't I see you carrying puff? That's where your heart is. Once you get the children either to sleep or to be doing something, you are busy doing something else. And if I was to have been your supervisor and I jam you, I would have just said, sister, why don't you go and sell kono? Even if you make mistake in making kono, those who drink your kono, it will not cost them more than diarrhea. And that's all. But when you make a child, you have set an irretrievable form. Whatever anybody is pouring is already deformed. I will be calling on you tonight, if you are the one teaching at that level, to come before God and to renew your heart and to pray and say, oh God, so the shaping of what this child can become tomorrow, I am the most crucial of it. We have discovered all the common errors in English. Brother Chema, please, you have been dealing with English common mistakes. Where did 70% of those common errors in English, pronunciation, lexis, and all of that, where did they come from, sir? From the primary school. Is at the primary. And yet, we only send those who are not properly trained to handle our primary school. I was so excited when the policy of education said the least qualification to teach in our primary school will be NCE. When they said that, I said, oh, thank God. Is that what is happening? Eh? No. Can you pay them? How sometimes it's somebody that finished GS3 that is the headmistress. Why do we Is it because we don't know how foundational that segment is? So now let me tell you, what is primary about the primary education? Number one, it is primary to everything. Are you hearing me? It is what? Primary to everything. All subjects, they found their foundation in it. And why is the primary education, why is it primary? So that I'm wishing that all the lecturers will help us. Maybe to go back and say, now let's correct this thing from the foundation. It's because once the foundation be destroyed, there is little that anybody else can do, no matter how righteous they are. Foundation, because it's foundational, it bears the weight of every other cumulative building. So it determines the shape. Sincerely speaking, it dictates the highest possibility that that child can go if it is not properly done. And do you know that because foundation becomes inaccessible with time, the problem is that many foundational problems in the lives of many students, it was difficult for us to access where that foundational problem comes from because it's already hidden under the soil. So if I'm begging you as teachers tonight, I want to beg you that those of you that have accepted to stand at the foundational level, or what we call the early child education, the primary level, will you take it seriously? So if you want me to make my suggestion, who should I post to the primary school? I would like to post the best of teachers. But did you see why you're all laughing? Say, that's demotion. That's demotion. That's demotion. No. And when I get to the primary school, who do you think I would like to put in primary one? It will be the most experienced. If the headmistress or headmaster, who is the most experienced in the school, if he had to teach at all, I know many of you would like them to teach primary 6 to prepare them for common entrance that you are rigging. Do you know that if I have the best teacher in primary 1, you don't need to do extra coaching for common entrance? You are not hearing me at all. If I'm going to assign teachers to classes, that's how I graduated. My best and most experienced, primary 1. The next in experience, but not as experienced as the other one, primary 2. Primary 6 will be the least experienced. You know why? Once my students have been formed in primary 1, primary 2, primary 3, even if a dondu comes to them in primary 6, they will challenge him. If I got the correct, most experienced teacher to help me shape the handwriting of my children in primary 1, primary 2, primary 3, by primary 4, their handwriting is forever formed, you can't change it. So even if you bring a teacher who writes as if it is a chicken that is writing, are you hearing me? You will see that child walk up to teacher, excuse me, why is your writing like this? Let me show you how to write letter Y, ma'am. So you will take it like this, and you will do like this, and you curve it like this. You will teach that teacher. But because you don't understand, you quickly carry the best, the most experienced to come to primary 6 to be doing remedial of a foundation that a useless, non-experienced teacher has destroyed in primary 1, primary 2, primary 3. You don't understand. If I go to secondary school, who should be my best teacher? What should they teach? JS1. I don't know whether you understand my philosophy now. The best must be at the foundation. Because the foundation is the critical time. And if it is well laid, you don't need to have examination fever for your children. They will be bold, they will be confident, because by this time, you've laid the foundation, you have trained them on reading habits. You have taught them about library, how to search through library. You have given them motivation. The constructive theory that we are talking about, they have been trained in creating their own knowledge by themselves so they can write their notes in their own language. They can go and sit for any exam without your assistance because you've done your work well. But can I tell you what you do that makes your labor very useless? JS1, no mathematics teacher. JS2, it is one, comes once a week. But JS3, you say, Joe, please help us, this is exam class. So instead of letting the children go home and enjoy their holiday, what do? No holiday for you. No holiday, extra class. Why do you do extra class? Because you did not do correct job. I'm not asking you to cancel your extra classes, but if you were coming to me and say, sir, how do we run school? I would have told you that we can knock off all of that and your children will still be sharp because you have laid foundation. You have trained them. All of you are here. You know that by the organization of our scheme of work, the SS3, how many weeks do you have to teach SS3 now? All of you that have been in the secondary school system, talk to me. Only first term. Only first term. Only first term. As soon as they are coming, they write mock, they write jam, The only thing they are doing now is exam. And since you believe in backward integration, you now go and carry past exam questions. I never learned teaching like that. Past exam question is not a correct way of teaching. Concept that you are not formed when children are not afraid of exam can never become part of them. Honestly speaking, that's what normally happens. They have read and read and read. Oh, you have done all the exam questions, you have shown them. But when they enter the exam hall, it's the same question. It's the same question, but because it was twisted. The first letter was put last. What happened to your student? Immediately confused, destabilized. He said, what is this now? Our teacher never taught us this. This is not in our syllabus. All the past questions, they didn't bring any one of them out. That's an ignorant child that you only coached, who has not internalized anything. So what does it mean to shape? It means to form. To form. To create shapes into which we can put everything else. And that's what I now want to say to you. The whole of primary school is only foundational to secondary school. Am I right? And both the primary and secondary, they are only foundational to what? Tertiary. If any of these places had been damaged, the lecturers can only shout for nothing. And I can see my lecturers, they are struggling. Because now, they cannot. One of my girls was doing master. And when I'm reading her notes, I say, cry. I turned to my wife, said, now foundation. What is the reason for that? Something was omitted at the primary school. So the lecturer does not even know where to start. If you don't overlook all the grammatical error, when somebody is writing for you in economics or in whatever, you will not go anywhere. So I know what the lecturers are doing now, because they have no alternative, is to overlook all of that. They are just looking for anything that looks like the answer. Foundation. If God is saying to shape the young, then I want to suggest to you where our labor comes. You may be thinking that, oh, I have only advocated for the primary. No. I have done that because if your eyes didn't open to see it, then you are joking. What will you be building upon in the secondary school when the primary has not been done? And you know, sometime, if you want to help yourself in the secondary school, if you really want to help yourself, and you don't want to waste time and pour water into basket, some of the children that appear to be brilliant in your common entrance, they have been helped. They were helped to pass. If you want to really help them, you must go back to primary 5 work. Your first term of JS1 should be a complete overhaul of primary 5, primary 6 work for you to have a proper base to begin anything. But you see, we don't think like that. We just say, let's just continue. What will be the workable methodology for shaping? I have said the best must be at the foundation. The most experienced must be at the foundation. If I come to the school and I'm sorting things out, I said, no. Let us go back. Give me the best teacher. I send him to Form 1, JS1. Help me build the do you call it integrated science now? They have changed. They have been changing every time. It was general science before. Abi? It became integrated science. I don't know what is wrong with the word integrated, that they have gone now to call it basic science. I don't know. Somebody just like to confuse us. Somebody wants to sell a book. So he goes to the minister. Say, this book. What is wrong with all the integrated textbooks that we wrote before? But somebody wants to make money. Dean, Faculty of Education, can you look into this matter for us and help us out? Those of you that are concerned, will you think very deeply about what we are talking about tonight? Now, so what is peculiar about the secondary school? What is peculiar about it? The first issue is that it is secondary. What do I call it? It's secondary. I wish, I'm not discouraging you, but I want you to know that secondary school is what? Is secondary. If it is secondary, all secondary school teacher must be versatile with what is primary. The secondary school teacher of maths, I want you to know that all the concepts you want to be dealing with now, simultaneous equation, simple equation, quadratic equation, all the equations, thank you very much, they are secondary. If you yourself will not help the children to understand simple LCM, HCF, fraction, these are simple concepts. That's what all your equation is all about. Am I right? 2x plus 3 is equal to 5. What is it all about? You're saying, I got this thing, I don't know its name, call it X. When I got 2 of it, somebody gave me 3 kobo, and it became 5 kobo. What is that thing they gave me? Immediately. Sir, if you remove the 3 that somebody had, it will become 2 now. It means 2 over 2. Is that not equation? But when you come to the class, say 3x minus 3 is equal to 15. What is x? And then you are repeating that, going up and down. And the children say, what is x? That's the first problem. What is x? Why did he write x? What is 3 doing with x? I don't understand. This is very difficult. Because you yourself, you forgot that what you came to teach is secondary. I wish you are first of all primary. The peculiarity of the secondary school is that it's second to the primary. I know that in our rating, secondary is higher than primary. But in my understanding, secondary is secondary to the primary. That's the first peculiarity about it. What is the second peculiarity of the secondary education? It is that you are coming to build on what someone else has done. So you are unconsciously subservient to what the other person did. So you cannot approach secondary education as an independent thinker. So when we are talking about what is the learning experience of the child, that the experience he has to connect with the new knowledge you are introducing so that he can construct it and be ready to absorb it. If the foundation is destroyed, I know I'm putting a task onto you which is very difficult, but I want to ask all the secondary school teachers, even if you don't want, because what you have been called to do is secondary to what someone else has done, you will need some deliberateness to absorb the primary, so that your own second can have a landing platform. And if I have chance and I wanted to come to train teachers in a particular school, when the new students are coming from one student that just been admitted, it would have been my privilege to gather all the teachers of JS1, whether maths, English, or whatever, and give them this important orientation. To know that what will help your work to move fast is to recognize the secondariness of it to the other foundation, so that if that foundation is not good, that's the first thing you must do if you want to succeed. Praise the Lord. But now permit me to show you something quickly before I leave. What is peculiar about that segment is that the students that you are now confronting, they have also moved onto the second segment of their own lives. And what is in that second segment? It is that now they are now querying everything that somebody told them before. And they are asking, allow me to choose what I want. Allow me to be myself. I want to define myself. So that's why once that child gets to Form 3, have you always seen that their hand is here? In their pocket. You say, Charles, why are you doing your shoulder like that? If he respects you and removes it, just watch him. In the next 1 minute, he's back. You know why? He is working something out in his mind to find identity. So the secondary school teacher must help the secondary school student to define himself, not by imposing your definition on him. He has to define himself for him to be ready for whatever we want to give him. Sometimes we don't recognize that. We think that when we came to primary school and say, firm. Where do we do that? Where do we do that? Primary 1, primary 2. Class, firm. Go to GS2 and say that. What will happen? Talk to me now. In fact, before you finish, somebody will laugh behind there. Say, who is laughing there? Who is laughing there? He will put his head down. Another one is laughing. They can just make you a complete nuisance if you don't know what to do. They can make you weep. Because they have come to a point where they are saying, what does she think she is? I know what I'm doing. So that has added a different dimension to our work. Their mind has come to a stage where we cannot ignore it. And now that our world has suddenly grown, that each one of them, they are already having their own handset. They are already having their own WhatsApp and Facebook. And they already know how to send messenger. How they tweet one another. They know how to take photograph and post it. You think you are teaching them. In your class, he's smiling to himself because he's watching something. When we were in school, there was nothing like that. Abi? But we had our own distraction. We had some magazines. Those dangerous magazines, we don't know. Sometimes you don't have the whole magazine, you just have one small page that somebody just cut. You'll be smiling to yourself. Say, it is that age. It's the age of distraction. It's the age of self-actualization. He wants to actualize himself and he does not know what will make it to happen. That's why the teacher at the secondary level, apart from connecting with the content, you must connect with the personality trait that is now being formed and is now breaking into the life of the young people. The secondary school teacher. You are at a very critical point where if we happen to lose that child, I don't intend to bother you with all the challenges that the teenage years has brought. But I'm hearing God saying, shape them for me. I would like to inform you that the tertiary institution, the only thing they do there is to sharpen. What does not have shape cannot be sharpened. You only sharpen a knife that has been already formed. Am I correct? Do you sharpen what is not there? But when I come back, I'm now going to be looking at how do we exercise our labor for effectiveness in recognition of these peculiar segments of lives that we have come to. But may I conclude here tonight by saying that this segment that God is allowing me and you to be is the most flexible. That's the point where a child is trainable. This is the point where they are formable. This is the time they are bendable. After this segment, whatever is not formed has become permanent deformity. When I conclude like that, some of you say, well, some will still make it. I don't doubt that some, the survivor of the fittest. But majority will have been washed away. What I want to ask as we stop here tonight, I took time to beg the primary school teacher. And I'm taking time to appeal to the secondary school teacher. And I'm asking the lecturers to help us look beyond what your lecture can deliver. Look at this Amuku. Somebody saw one man called Mr. Amuku carrying his load, and his load was bent on this side. And somebody met him and said, Mr. Amuku, why is your load bending on this side? And the man said, why are you looking on the top? And you are not looking to the ground. The load that is bending on top, that's why they call me Amuku now. Right from the beginning, look at the way my leg have been twisted. That's why the load is turning that way. There's no way you can do with this bending load, because the bend is from here. But God is giving me and you opportunity to make the greatest impact. As we talk about discipleship this evening, and I want you to know that even discipleship is only at best when you are young. How beautiful it is that God gives you opportunity to shape a life before he gets married. All those that we shaped before they got married, their marriages are standing. All those that we encountered after they have had 2 or 3 divorces, what am I doing now? I'm just packaging them for eternity. What can you do? He has married 3 wives. Even if he restituted them, does that mean he has not married? You are not answering me again. He had 3 children in between 2 women. And the other children that are living on the other side, he only visits them by correspondence because they belong to another woman. He has repented now, say, I surrender all, I surrender all. He sings like an angel, and actually he has surrendered all. But the day when this other child is going to marry, will he go? Will he meet his former wife? I'm sure he will be coming on this side. The woman will be coming on that side. Will the old quarrel not wake up? He said, So when they say, okay, let us bless the child. When the woman is coming this way, the man is coming this side, can he say, don't touch my child? No. The memory of the old days will come back. Fresh tears will drop in his eyes. He damaged it when he was young. I want to plead with you tonight. You are the handlers of the young. What are you doing with it? And my very, very, very strong appeal was to those of you at the foundation. Those of you at every foundation. If I were to organize the department in a tertiary institution, I will put my best lecturers at 100 level. I will put the best experienced lecturer at the beginning of the courses that will formulate their years. I cannot forget my curriculum professor. He just simply walked to the class and he will be teaching curriculum as if he's just eating cocoyam. It's very sweet in his mouth. Whatever question we had, he had a way of just answering it in a simple way that it never left us. And because he laid foundation, when we now had recent lecturers who are more interested in showing off, you come around, you will say this and that. Before we talk, you say, yes, go and consult. We laugh. Why is he doing like this now? Even Prof never did this to us. The truth of the matter is that if you got a right man to lay your foundation, any damage that anybody brings is limited. And here you are, all of you sitting before me. You are at the foundation laying of the destiny of people. Will it be spoiled in your hand? I want to remind you, they cry again. That child is crying every day, saying, oh teacher, Prepare me for my destiny. Set me on course for my journey in life. All the features for my future, please don't omit any of them, otherwise I will become vague in the future. My life will never take shape if you don't shape me now. If you don't sharpen me, I'll become a blunt, useless nonentity in the coming days. Oh, teacher. As I ask you to rise with me in prayer tonight, you are already at the foundation of these many destinies. You are already carving what will become unalterable in the lives of these people. It's a charge to keep that God has given you. How will you account for it? But like we said when we were finishing the other time, that if you have not been discipled, how can you disciple others? What you don't have, you cannot give any other person. Am I right? Who you are is what you are writing upon the lives of these people. But the last point that is touching my heart that I must drop before you go with me in prayer is that this assignment, listen to me, even though everybody thinks that it is government that employs you or proprietor that employs you, I want to inform you, this assignment transcends all your proprietors. Because you are dealing with a never dying soul. If you think it is government, APC government, PDP government, PRP government, may I inform you, all those government will come and go. Your signature on that life has no tenure. What will you be remembered for? What will you be remembered for? Because these lives that are sitting before you, they are eternal souls. The gravity of a teacher's work is that your work is eternal. It never finishes. And I say the one to whom you will give account is the Lord, who is longing to see what this child, this young man will become. And if they are going to ever be productive, your hand must be there. I ask you tonight, will you turn to the Lord and say, Lord Jesus, this matter is becoming so heavy. I need your help. Touch me that I may touch me. If I finish this teacher summit, I must go to become a man with a difference. I must become the Ezra of my time. Prepared to go and make a difference. Lord, here am I. As we will pray together, and I would like you to please arise and thank God with me. And tonight, one more time, tonight, I said to the primary school children, at that age, they learn by mimicking. They learn by repetition. Their reasoning capacity is still only being formed. They may not have reason for what they are doing. They only need to see you doing it. Are you an example? Is your character worthy? Is your outlook the kind that it should form? And did you ever see the gravity that you are the one at that foundation level? All the frustration that the lecturers in the tertiary will have, could it not be traced to what you ought to do that you did not do? All the struggle that that child is going through in the secondary school, was it not what you ought to do that you did not do? An old tutor, secondary school teacher, will you be exonerated for the deformity we now see on the street? Will you pray and say, Lord, this assignment comes from you. Help me to serve you aright. Pray with me quickly. Call on God for me. Spirit of the living God, please come and walk in this meeting. Come and do a new thing, oh God, in our hearts. Whether we be lecturers in tertiary schools, whether we be teachers in the primary school, in the pre-primary, in the nursery, whether we be teachers, oh God, in the secondary, we all at the foundation of these lives. Lord, help us. Holy Spirit, please walk in this meeting tonight. Convict us until we are converted, oh God. Create in us a new heart. Give us passion for these lives. Transform this world from being a job. Let it become a task, a charge that we have received from you. Holy Spirit, please walk your walk now. And do what a man cannot do in this meeting tonight. Holy Spirit, please have your way. If you are praying, I want you to pray. Say, Holy Spirit, have your way with me. Holy Spirit, please have your way with me. I didn't know that this walk is not as easy as I thought. I need your help. I need your help for me to be correct. I need your help for me to be right myself. I need your help to have passion. I am become too cold. I go to my classes as if I'm being forced. I get irritated with the children, the ignorant children that are just asking questions. I get irritated. I find myself shouting on them as if they are not entitled to ask me. Those who are crying and say, Lord, I just need you to touch me tonight. I want my secret life to be transformed. I want to go back to this assignment with passion. Where are you? I need help tonight. Where are you? If you need help, you need to run out quickly. You need to say, oh God, so this is where I am. This is what I'm supposed to be. People praise me, say I'm doing well. But now I can see the nakedness of my work. I need your help, Lord. I need you every hour. Most gracious Lord, no tender voice like that can peace afford. I need thee, oh, I need thee. The key to change this nation is here. The key to position this child for correct future is here. Why am I so complacent, Lord? I need your help. Are you needing the help of God? I need. Ask me not away. Take not oh, restore unto me the joy, the joy, oh, a radiant spirit within me. Please ask God. God will baptize you afresh with the spirit, the passion of a teacher. I know what it is. I knew when God gave it to me. I knew it. A teacher has inexhaustible patience. A teacher is never irritated by the ignorance of the students. A teacher has endurance. He said, this boy will turn out right. Restore to me, O God, the passion, the heart of a teacher. Here a little, there a little. Line upon line, line upon line. A teacher is never in haste. He lays principles upon principles upon principles until it is formed in the heart of the student. Pray and say, Lord, restore to me my passion. Make my life a testimony. Use me, O God, as an agent of transformation. Thank you. We're praying together now. Thank you. I suppose all those that needed to come to say, Lord, restore my passion. Show me the glory of this call that you have given me. Don't let me start chasing other things. This position where you have put me, deliver me from chasing any other thing. Please, Lord, restore my passion. Tonight, Lord, give us a new heart. Give us a new spirit. I'm asking, Father, that tonight fresh passion will be released onto our hearts. Fresh passion will be brought to us, so that each of the lives, the children, those that are struggling, what an opportunity to have helped them to become something. Thank you, Father. Lord, those that we are kind to you because even the deficiency in our own character has silenced us. Please have mercy tonight. Lord Jesus, please come. Take your place. Lord, thank you. Some want to quit, but tonight you are saying, but this is where I called you. Lord, bring us back to our duty post.